It's time for another episode of the Cattle Innovation Station podcast. I'm your host, Baxter Whitworth, and as always, joining me today is your other host, Paul Hayes. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the beef cattle short course, how it got started, how it works, and the importance of the beef cattle short course. And our guest today, again, is going to be Dr. Cleere, and we're excited to have him.
EP Cattle Company. Owned by Eddie Wilson, EP Cattle Company is home of Sir Rouse Handshake. Rouse Handshake is a sound-structured, heavy-muscle bull that is really bold-ribbed. So it comes with no surprise that he is a Fort Worth and San Antonio Junior Show Division Champion and Rio Grande Valley Open Show Division Champion. He is a grandson of BRC Noble and JDH Shank Manso, and is also a great-grandson of Mr. H. Elijah Manso. You can contact Eddie Wilson or Nicole Wilson on Facebook at EP Cattle Company. So remember, if you're looking for some well-performing registered Brahman genetics, contact Eddie Wilson on Facebook.
Okay, I'm excited for this episode. We get to talk about the beef cattle short course. Paul and I went last year. I missed the first day of school last year to go to the beef cattle short course, but we went last year. We had a great time, enjoyed it, learned a lot. Hope to go back this year. So we're gonna talk about the beef cattle short course. So I guess before we talk about anything else about the beef cattle short course, what is the beef cattle short course and how does it work?
Yeah, Baxter first. That was first day of school, and you got to go on a field trip. What I saw it
Exactly.
as, so good learning experience. But the Texas A&M Beef Cattle Short Course is this is the 71st year. This is actually my 21st year, so I wasn't involved with the first one. But it's 71 years. And it's the largest beef cattle educational event in the United States, if not the world. We're strictly educational. There's not any political or anything like that. We'll have, it's 2.5 days, so it's August 4th through the 6th on the campus of Texas A&M University in College Station. It's always been the last, actually 35 years. It's been the first Monday in August. We kind of put it during that time because there's kind of it's still too hot. Most ranchers are not working cows, trying to wean calves, those kind of things. Usually it's kind of gotten dry and there's not a lot of hay to bale. So it's a good time for ranchers to get away and get some education. We'll have about 25 different concurrent sessions that go on during the event. And so you can pick and choose anything from, I just bought a cow, I need to learn everything about cattle because I grew up and have spent the last 40 years in Houston, Texas, all the way to we have an advanced technology session or a genomics session or advanced reproductive session. So anything from the novice producer to the most seasoned, because there's so many sessions, we have something for everybody at the Beef Cattle Short Course. And whether you got one cow or 5,000 cows, we have ranchers of all shapes and sizes that attend the event every year.
Right, and picking and out. We were talking about this just before we started. Picking and choosing is so hard because it's not like, oh, all the good stuff is on Monday or all the good stuff is on another day. all the good stuff is the entire short course, and so you have
Mhm.
to pick and choose. Well, I would love to go to this, but I really think I need to go to this actually more, and this is on the same time, so I have to go to this one. And it's a great opportunity. Like you said earlier, it's just makes people come back to see the other sessions. So I it, I don't know. I love. We even changed our schedule. Paul and I picked everything out. We are like, this is what we're gonna go to. Halfway through a session, we were like, I think we might want to still check that one out. And so we would go, and we had a great time.
Yeah, and it's a good thing about the beef cattle short course. There's a lot of education there for ranchers to go listen to, um, you know, extension and research people from Texas A&M and other Texas universities, as well as from universities across the U.S., other land grant universities. We bring in, if they're the expertise in this subject, we bring them in. We also have other ranchers that have come as well. We have industry people that come in. We'll have this year Randy Block with Cattle Facts doing a market outlook. We bring a weatherman in as well. Brian Bledsoe's he's become our beef cattle short course weather guy because he does a lot of futuristic prediction and weather and looking at what trends are going to be and what producers can expect with that. So, we have a wide variety of speakers for everyone. We also have a huge trade show. There'll be about 150 vendors there of anything from breed associations to ranches to equipment sales. We have a lot of equipment dealers that set up equipment outside, and so we have a little bit of everything there. And then the other component of it is the fellowship. You get to visit with ranchers from across Texas, the U.S., and around the world as well. And so there's a lot of networking that goes along with it as well. So I always say that every August, about 1,800 to 2,000 of my closest friends come to visit me in Aggie Land. So it's a lot of fun.
I like that. That's funny. Well, the weather thing, that was pretty. I remember that was pretty crazy. Just all that he knew and showed, and he lost me on some of it because I didn't. There was part of it I didn't understand. Of course, at that time, there was a part in the short course I didn't feel real well, but that was part of that time. But anyway,
The other positive aspect, we feed you a lot of beef during the beef cattle short course. Chicken is not allowed. So we feed a lot of beef, and I like to eat, so I try to have the best meals we can and feed the masses too. And so we kind of herd them through. We talk about BQA earlier and cattle behavior and herding and proper cattle handling. So we got proper people handling through the lines at the beef cattle short course because I don't like lines and I don't like people sitting in lines. So we do it pretty efficiently.
y'all do. I remember Paul and I had went and we were talking about some stuff that we were just walking around that building looking and stuff, and so we were waiting for the line to die down, and by the time we got back, they were sending us. We almost got sent to the wrong room where our parents weren't, because we had to turn around and be like, I think our parents are that way, because they had already got the line down so far they were going to the
Yeah.
next room. So it was very efficient in that sense.
It was. And you said that the beef cattle short course, this will be their 71st year, right?
That's right.
So
71 years we've been doing it. There was a couple of years in there during I guess World War II where they didn't have it. But other than that, it's been consistent. When COVID hit 5 years ago, and it was actually about this time, I was having to make some tough decisions whether or not to cancel the beef cattle short course. And I don't like to fail, and so I'm not a quitter. And I said, people ranchers still need information, and so I had some smart folks around me, and we put together a plan. My AV and technology people, and we had a virtual beef cattle short course. So we had 1,800 ranchers from around the world zooming in for 2.5 days. for the virtual Texas A&M beef cattle short course. So, the only problem we had was we could not feed them their Texas Aggie prime rib. But we did have a prime rib cooking demonstration in front of Kyle Field and different things. So it was we do it every year. It's an Aggie tradition. So
another one to the list.
Another one to the list.
Hi guys, I'm your co-host, Paul Hayes, and I'd like to tell y'all about my family business that has been going on for over 50 years now, and that is raising quality registered Brahman cattle. Our ranch is called Flat Rock Brahmins, and we have locations in Glen Rose and LaGrange, Texas. And we are here for all of your cattle needs. Whether it's needing show cattle, replacement females, or even a new herd sire, we would be happy to earn your business and watch our genetics excel in your herd. You can contact me by email at paulhayesv@icloud.com or my dad, who helps manage the ranch, at paulhayesiv@icloud.com or over the phone at 817-964-2752.
With those 71 years, could you tell us a little bit of the history? You already did a little bit, but a little bit of the history of the beef cattle short course.
Yeah, when it started out, it was designed to be, a short course, and it definitely was not this size at all. And it was very practical. It took the information down to where ranchers could do it. It went through a period of time in the late 70s and through the 80s to where it was kind of about the same time that we changed from animal husbandry to animal science. And so the leaders at that time decided, well, we need to be more scientific, specific, almost too technical. And so they had a meats track and equine and different things, and it actually pretty much almost failed during that time because it was just too specific. They also it was in January where a lot of cow-calf producers are tied down to the ranch, dealing with winter feeding and those kind of things. So it almost died, and then Dr. Larry Bowman took it over in the early 90s. And so Dr. Bowman was before me, and he kind of revitalized it. And he moved it to August, which is a little bit better time for ranchers to get away. One, it's hot outside, and we had lots of air conditioning. And so it was an opportunity for them to come to town. And he grew it. The first year he took it over, I think he said there was about 300 people. We held it in Clayburg, the Animal Science building. So it was held there. The trade show was kind of in the atrium area, and it quickly outgrew that the second year, and then eventually, right soon after that, he moved it to the MSC on campus, and we've had some challenges over the years. I took it over in 2005, and we went through a period of about a 10-year period, 10, 15 years of construction in that area. So they redid the MSC. So we had to move the trade show to the old basketball court. And we actually, served our prime rib dinner inside the indoor track that was there. So we had some challenges there. We ended up, Kyle Field was renovated, essentially created some additional challenges. But people said, why don't you just move it off of campus? Surely it would be easier than dealing with a university campus, which is a challenge. But it's the Texas A&M beef cattle short course, and so that's why it's on the campus of Texas A&M. And so as they remodeled and expanded the MSC over 10 years ago, it really created we've got a convention center, and they added a hotel about 6-7 years ago. And so that Texas A&M hotel, it's turned into a remarkable place. We still have to deal with parking, but we have some big parking garages, which have made it a little easier. Before they built the new parking garage, I had to worry about pickup trucks getting hung up in our old garage because they were too tall. So, we still have our challenges, But I think there's something about it, the university and people coming to Texas A&M for the Texas A&M Beef Cattle Short Course. So
That's absolutely right. Ooh,
Absolutely.
what even was that
And
question, Paul? It's been a while.
sorry.
No, it's great. We love it. We love it a lot. And I remember at the the 3 episodes ago, you had on your when you talked about yourself, you had said that you didn't like speaking when you grew up, but then you grew into it, and so that's
that
My wife,
was
my wife, Baxter, you'll appreciate this. My wife always says, "You can't go anywhere in the U.S. without somebody knowing you or you talking to somebody." So,
Baxter asked what that question was. That was Dr. Cleare's 5-minute lesson of the 71 years of history of the Beast Cattle Short Course.
it may have
Yes,
been
sir.
10 minutes.
Maybe. But this next question, you already touched on this actually when Baxter asked what the Beef Cattle Short Course was about and how it is beneficial to the novice rancher who has limited knowledge as well as the deeply knowledge rancher. I wondered if you'd want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do for this, we have at Baxter, y'all talked about all the different sessions. So, we kind of have a a novice track. So the first 2 days we have some basic ranch, you know, we have a session that talks about terminology. What's a heifer? A heavy bred. What is that? And we talk about that terminology all the time. We know it. But somebody that's new to the business, they're like, I don't know, it's just like a foreign language. What's a yearling? You know, and so that session covers that, and then we have a second session that goes into basic nutrition and basic health and a calving season and those kind of things. And then we have other sessions that go into nutrition and other topics that are maybe intermediate sessions. Okay. But then we have some very advanced type sessions. So we have a session we added years ago. We started seeing that, there's a good large number of ranchers that attend are in the seed stock business, purebred business. So, man, we better have a session that talks about maybe marketing and advanced genetics decisions and those kind of things. So we may be talking about genomics and other things during those sessions. And then we also, on the third day, so the first 2 days are classroom. The third day we pivot and we spread out across our educational facilities, our centers across so we go to the beef center, we go to Rosenthal, our meats lab, as well as we go to our equestrian center. Bless you, Baxter. And we do a lot of demonstrations, whether it's how do you castrate calves, and we show it. We go through, we brand cattle, we do all of those things. We talk about cattle handling. Dr. Gill works cattle and shows how to work them on horseback as well as foot. We have a brush busters workshop where they go and actually bring potted brush species out and they show, well, here's some methods that you can use to control invasive brush species there. So, and then the Rosenthal, the meat science portion, they'll break down a carcass and show you where all the cuts are and where's the value. So it's a lot of different things with a lot of different, anything, again, from the novice, Paul, to the most advanced.
That's something that we actually kind of struggle with on our podcast, because in the beef cattle short course, you create different courses for whoever wants to go. Where something that we have to deal with is trying to make our podcast where someone that isn't as advanced will be able to learn, whereas also we want somebody that is very advanced, that's been doing it all their life, to still learn something as well.
Yeah.
And so within one episode too. So that's something we definitely work on too as well.
It is. Well, the next two questions, I'm going to get some of your pro tips about the beef cattle short course. So the first one is, what's your pro tip on designing your schedule for the beef cattle short course?
Yeah, so we'll post that schedule in advance, and then we also have an app, that convention app that we developed, that you can go in and you can tag the sessions. And so you can go through and kind of look and see what those individual ones are, and prioritize what your needs are. One thing that we're going to try to get done this year is do some podcasts, not podcasts, but TikToks. I'm not a big social media person, but I have some great students that are, that, kind of, okay, this session's going to talk about this. Here's some things that you can gain from it. If you're looking for the basic stuff, you ought to be going to these sessions here. So, we're going to try to provide some different ways, and actually identify some of these sessions as maybe more basic versus those that are more advanced with that. So I think the biggest tip is to get that schedule, look at it, and kind of get a plan before you just show up there the day of.
Absolutely. Paul, next pro tip. Top Notch Cattle Company. Selling semen on high quality registered red and gray Brahman cattle that are reproductively efficient, structurally sound, big ribbed, heavy muscled, and deep bodied. Contact me at 903-649-9155. Again, that's 903-649-9155. Or email me at bbwtopnotchcattle@gmail.com.
Thank you. Yes. The next pro tip is about the trade show. What's your pro tip for using the trade show to its full advantage?
Yeah, the trade show, I always say that that's a huge opportunity, and it's grown. When I took it over 20 years ago, we're probably looking at about 60 booths, and now we're at about 150 of all shapes and sizes of vendors. So it's grown exponentially. Um, you know, there are, peak times. Of course, that first morning, there's going to be a huge crowd when they get there. They're, getting registered, and they're going to grab breakfast. And so there's going to be a lot of crowds. So, my pro tip is that, a lot of times people like to walk straight in and go to the trade show that's right there. You're probably better off in going to maybe the second floor trade show first, in that first morning, because then you can really see all those vendors, and then it'll be less of a crowd the next day on the first floor where there's the vendors as well. So, there's tons of vendors, and we've taken up, all of Rudder as well as across to the MSC now. And but there's a lot of great products out there. Anything from drones to pharmaceutical sales to chemical sales, tractors, whatever. There's just a lot of neat resources that you can visit with those vendors, and then use some of the knowledge that you gained in the short course to help make some of those decisions on which products to buy.
For people who haven't been before, I almost missed the vendors that were outside because I didn't know we had some outside. Like I remember the drone spray, and then a couple like panel and feed trough companies.
Yeah, so we'll have probably about 15 different vendors outside, and a lot of those will also have a booth inside. But they'll have anything from squeeze chutes to trailers to drones, tractors, concrete troughs, you name it. There have been a few times over the years that we've had cattle out there as well, which is a sight to see, having cattle right in the middle of campus of Texas A&M. But we've had that as well. So
That's neat. Well, is there anything else you want to say about the beef cattle short course before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it's if you want some more information, beefcattleshortcourse.com is a great resource, and you can register online. And it's August 4th through 6th. I mean, we talked about, I'm really surprised, not to pick on Paul over here, because he talked about that ice cream earlier. We have Paul's like me; he likes to eat. Okay, I like to eat too. So we have Bluebell ice cream there, as well as with a lot of beef, our famous Texas Aggie prime rib. So we do feed you well during those 2.5 days. So the other pro tip is, okay, you better go light eating on Sunday because you're going to eat a lot the next 2.5 days.
All right. Sounds
That may be
good.
the most important pro tip.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll make sure to take that in account this year. That the prime rib dinner is good though. Very good.
It is fantastic.
Yeah, we've been featured on a couple of different TV shows and different things. I mean, it's a neat event. That the cool thing about it is it's cooked by Dr. Griffin and our smokehouses on campus there, and then our graduates, meat science graduate students, actually carve and serve it. So it's pretty cool.
That's
Well, this has been a great 4 episodes with you.
absolutely.
And I think it might be around time we need to start wrapping them up.
Well, you go ahead with your couple questions there, Paul.
So a question we always like to ask everyone at the end of their interview is, what is your number one piece of advice for ranchers to help innovate their herd?
Yeah, there's an old gentleman in that grew up in Grimes County, Anderson, where I was. He was a big rancher there, and he made a comment to me years and years ago, a long time ago. I was young. He said, "The day you stop learning is the day you're dead." And think about that we in the cattle business, we have to continue to learn and evolve. I'm not saying, I'm also one that if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of a scenario. But I think we have to continue to look at how production changes, how consumer demands change, our environmental conditions are changed. I mean, we're looking at, the climate's a little bit different than what now than what it was when I was growing up. It's been a little less predictable in recent years. And so again, we just have to make these changes and adapt to that. But the biggest thing is you got to continue to learn. And if those practices work for you to help you, achieve another dollar or save $1, that's what you got to do.
Paul, not that it's a bad thing at all, but I don't think we'll ever escape it, will we? Continue to learn, knowledge is power. That's been, since episode 1, that's been our theme.
Yep.
It has, and that really just shows that is probably the number one piece of advice
that everyone has.
Ranching in general.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. And moving on to some core values, what are some core values that you might want to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is trust. I think if people trust you, they will always respect you. Okay, and never sell yourself. And so I think that's a key thing, is that I try to always be trustworthy, and what I say is what it is. And the other thing too that I also try to be is humble. Those that boast and brag, there can be some challenges, and that can be difficult in today's society, with social media and different things of, people like to promote and self-promote. And so I think God wants us to be humble. He wants us to be successful. But when we're not humble, we forget our core values and what's important in life.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry. I'm in this little room with lights all over me, and then I'm looking out this window right in front of me, and it's raining and it's dark, so my entire internal clock is getting messed up here. But anyways, I've enjoyed it. But enjoying the interview, not really my internal clock getting messed up. But What's your favorite Bible verse?
It the one thing, and I appreciate y'all's podcast is really being Christian based, and I think John 3:16 it kind of sums it all up. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten, that he gave his only begotten his son for us to live an everlasting life. And so, you think about that. And so if we trust in the Lord, all right, then we will be okay in life. All right. And I think that's the big thing is that sometimes we forget as a society that it's in God's hands what happens to us. And I tell my sons this, my wife and I often, that it is a challenging time, and sometimes God opens doors for you, and sometimes God closes doors for you. And sometimes those closed doors, you think, gosh, this is horrible, this is bad. Sometimes he closes the doors to keep you humble, but then also he closes those doors to keep you safe and prepare you for what's going on in life. And so I think that's the big thing is trust in the Lord, and John 3:16 kind of summarizes that as a whole, that he died on the cross for us, and we should trust in the Lord. And I think if we do that, stick with our values, you'll be a successful and prosperous in life.
Absolutely. Well, anything else you wanted to say? Anything you wanted us to ask you that we didn't? Or anything you wanted to ask us? Sometimes people like to do that too.
I think I'm good. I do appreciate the opportunity. It's been a fun, we've been visiting for, gosh, a while now.
Yes, sir.
And time has flown by. It's been fun. I commend you two guys. Y'all are very innovative and very professional in what you've done. And it's been a lot of fun. If I can help y'all out in the future, the only request is that we need a commitment to Texas A&M University. Can y'all do that at this time? Meaning we're going to go there.
Publicly, well, I'm not gonna. I'm definitely.
I will visit the campus again. I don't want to go there.
I don't want to burn any bridges.
You have to do a visit, and I will say that if it feels right, you'll come here. All right. But at least come visit. So
I love Texas A&M. I just don't want to burn any bridges. So that's not.
I knew I tell you what, you guys are politicians. You're going to be politically correct on that, both of you.
Well, I still got 5 years until I have to decide where I'm going, so I don't want to make a commitment too early in case it changes.
Right. Well, I'll let y'all off the hook then.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for joining us. We had a wonderful time, not just this episode, but all 3 of the episodes before that. But it's been amazing. We love doing this, and we learned a lot. I'm sure our guests learned a lot. Anything you wanted to say, Paul?
Just thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be able to talk to you and ask you questions about all the stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Cleere.
Thank y'all.
Keep innovating the cattle industry. Signing off. Hello, guys. Thank you for listening to the Cattle Innovation Station podcast. We want to make this podcast better. So if you would, please like this episode and leave us feedback in the comment section. Something else that helps make this podcast better is when you respond to the polls. So if you're able, please respond to our polls. Help us make this podcast as good as possible. Thank you, God bless, and have a good day. Thank you for listening to the Cattle Innovation Station podcast.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
We're your hosts, Baxter Whitworth
and Paul Hayes.
Remember our key verse, Proverbs 16:3.
Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans.
Thank you for listening.